Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Today we are starting Shekalim. Hashem, we started Shvat a couple days ago. Today's Gimel Shvat, and Rosh Shekalim, as you know, is coming up at the end of the month, right before Rosh Adar. So we get to learn a little bit about Shekalim now. Hashem. Okay, today's shir is Lili Dishmas, Aaron Nachum ben Simcha Cohen, Yeshua Mordechai B'Shevsel, Bracha Sava Shmuel Leib, and Moshe ben Yosef, and then Hashem will have an Aliyah. And before Shlema for Ad Sar Basteya, Chana Pesel Basienta, Yisrael Bas Ben Rochalea, Rachel Bas Pesel Zelda, Avin Yisrael Ben Risha, Chaya Bas I apologize if there's any background noise or people working in the shul. I need to catch a flight in about 45 minutes. I need to run to the airport about 45 minutes. So I'm doing this. I went to this out this morning, so I apologize for the noise. It's not the norm. Anyways, Parsha Masechah Shekalim starts off. Um, the Shekalim, as we know from Parshas Kisisa, were 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 the were the was the money that was a tax collected from Klal Yisrael for the Karbonet Sibor. Where private korban was brought from your own money. If someone has a chatas or a shlamim, or a toda, they paid for that out of their own pocket. But the Talmud shall the daily Talmud, the Musafim from Shabbos and Rosh Chodesh and El Yom Tovim were all Karbanet Tzibur, and they all had to be brought from the Tzibur. The only way to do that is to collect the same amount of money from everyone, rich or poor, from Gans Klal Yisrael, and use that money to pay for the Karbanet Tzibur. The Karbanet Tzibur were renewed annually on Rosh Chodesh Nisan for the coming year, and everything had to be collected during Adar in order to pay in anticipation for the new year starting on Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Everyone in Klal Yisrael had to pay the tax, had to pay the half shekel tax. Kohanim, Levim, Yisraelim, Gerim, and them that were freed. Women and minors were exempt, just because the pasuk says every man, as it says. There's no ish kofer nafsho. That refers to the men, not the women. And it really applies nowadays. That's why nowadays it applies nowadays, and it also applies to people in chutzlaretz. People in this man of the second base of Mikdash, they lived in Bubble. A lot of them, they still had to pay the half shekel to the base of Mikdash by Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Okay, there is a difference between the 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 half shekel of the Torah and the shekel of the Mishnah. The 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 shekel of the Torah had in the times of Moshe had the value of 4 dinars, so the half shekel equaled 2 dinars. And the Mishnah, however, it's a little distracting. Hold on, we're going to move tables in a second. Move the stickle. Don't go away. Okay. Is that a little better? I don't know. We'll see. Oh, it's a little better. Okay. The half shekel is the in the second base of Mikdash, the special coin was minted for use to pay the half shekel coin, and that coin was known as a shekel. At that point, for that way forward, the Dereisha shekel became known as a seller. Any event, we're talking about the half shekel, and let's get going. I apologize that and all the Karbanet Sibor brought atonement for all the Chatayim of the Tzibur. And you know, even though we don't, because we have the base Mikdash, we don't give the half shekel now. But what we do every year is zeich, not this shekel. That's what's very important to say zecher. Is much because you're giving the money to tzedakah, but you're giving a half shekel as a zecher to the mitzvah. We're not actually doing the mitzvah, so I apologize for what I said before. Let's get into it, and you catch a flight soon. So, Perek, Shekalim, Perek Aleph, Mishnah Aleph, Ve'echad ba'adar mashmiim al Shekalim v'al Kulayim. On the first of Adar, Rosh Chodesh Adar, shluchim from Beistin, yeah, they proclaim in all Jewish communities with the chiyuv they do the shkalim, so the people should give them to the treasury of the Beis Hamikdash by the end of Adar. Back in the day, everything went out by a horse and buggy or by donkey, and they had to run by foot. Imagine like nowadays, like Rosh Chodesh Adar, you're gonna get a WhatsApp saying, "Okay, it's time to go to shkalim to Beis Hamikdash. Here's a link. Make your donation on the link to the shkalim of the Beis Hamikdash." It's gonna be a whole different world. It is a whole different world. We'll see. The other Kilayim, and they also made a proclamation on the first of Rosh Hashanah in regards to the Isser of Kilayim. Kilayim, as you know from Seder Rhyme, you plant the different species, such as wheat and barley together, all in the grow in the field. So they had to check the field to make sure that there was less than 1/24th of the total growth of the field, and that way the mixture is no longer considered kilayim, and they had to uproot whatever they had to do. The Chamisha Asabo, on the 15th day of the month of Adar, Korin Es HaMegillah B'Kraken, they read the Megillah in the walled cities. Because as you know, Purim on Yudalid is for people out of the walled cities, and people on Tezvav, Purim on Tezvav was for the walled cities. And Yerushalayim was a walled city. And this is happening in the based in the Beis Hamikdash, the Sanhedrin. With Sakdin as the Drachim as and the court, or the shluchim of the court, they do the following: they begin to repair the roads and the marketplaces from damages resulting from the winter rains. Beis Mikvos Samayim, as well as the Mikvos that cleaning up the mud they found during the rainy season. Those call and they attend to all the needs of the public that have not yet been accomplished this year, that they are completed by the end of the year by Adar. With Siyanin at Sephoros, they also mark the graves whose markings were washed away in the winter rains. The Yosin Kilayim, and they also go out to inspect the fields for growth of Kilayim on the main crop to uproot any such growth that they find. They're doing all these things during Adar in order to prepare the country and the city of Yerushalayim for Pesach and for the Aliyah Regel. You need to make sure that the roads are in good condition so that people do not get stuck on the road. They can get to Yerushalayim easier than if you had road problems. And you have to make sure that the mikvahs are clean. You have to make sure that all the needs of the public all this is done in order to make the trip to Beis Hamikdash smoother than it's still a difficult trip, but you can make it smoother than it could have been if these things weren't taken care of. And marking the graves is also very important, so you don't become tame while trying to bring the Kohen Pesach or the Kabbalas. Mishnah Beis, I'm Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda said, "B'shana hayu okin ma'mashlichin lefenehem." Originally, the shluchim Beis then would uproot the kilayim they found growing in the fields and throw them down in front of the field's owners to shame them, having violated the issur of kilayim by not uprooting the kilayim previously when they were supposed to. The Chachamim hope that this embarrassment would help prevent the owners from doing this again in the future years. Over when the number of sinners increased, then the shluchim Beis Din would uproot the kilayim and throw them down onto the roads, so that the owners could not use the kilayim growth to feed their animals. It was hoped that this would cause them to uproot the kilayim before the 15th of Adar to prevent the shluchim from finding them and throwing them away. When even this did not work, Yiskinu Shiyu Mafkirin Kol Asadakula, and the Chachamim went to stage 3, and they instituted that the Shluchim should declare um, the crops in the field ownerless. I mean, all the crops that accumulate, they would declare them ownerless, so that um, basically run the business into the ground. And this um, harsh measure was what served to convince the owners to upward their decline so they don't lose their entire crop. No one wants to lose their entire crop put up by business by the authorities. Mishnah Gimel, the Chamisha Asar Bo Shulchanas Hayu Yoshvim B'Medina. On the 15th of the month of Adar, money changers will begin to sit in throughout Yerushalayim, so people from foreign countries could exchange their coins with different currency, but the shkalim they needed to give for their obligations. Be'esim, because people were coming to Yerushalayim from all over the world. Be'esim Chamish Yashtu B'Mikdash, on the 25th of Adar, the money changers began to sit in the Beis Hamikdash area, obviously not in the Azora, but close to the Beis Hamikdash, to remind people to hurry and bring their shkalim. Mishiyashu b'mikdash hischilu the mashkin. From when the money changers began sitting in the Beis Hamikdash, the officials, the 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 officials of the Beis Din began to seize property that people did not bring in their shkalim at this time, in order to force them to give their shkalim. But not everyone was forced to pay. Esmi mimashkinin. From who did the court to the Beis Din seize property if they did not give the shkalim willingly? The Vim Yisraelim. From the Vim and Yisraelim only, not from Kohanim, as we'll see soon. Gerim v'avadim shechram, and from converts and from freed slaves, because they are all obligated to give shkalim and have not done so. Avalo nashim avadim ugatam, and not they did not seize the property from women, from avadim Kanani, and from minors under the age of 20, because they are not chayav to give shkalim at all. Kol katan she'esko avi lishko al yado. In the case of any minor whose father thought not, he's not obligated to do so, but began to contribute a shekel on his son's behalf, shuv ein a posek, the father may not cease contributing for his son in future years due to a gezer derabana. And eventually the father would then turn the chiv over to the son when he turns 20, and then it's to give it. Memashkinin as a kohanim, we do not seize property from the kohanim, even though they have a chiv the geshkalim. Because this preserves the way of peace. They're the ones who are working in the Beis Hamikdash, making sure that you have your korbanos brought in time, and they're gonna be resentful to you if you do that to them. Amen. Mr. Dal, Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda said, "Hey, Ben Buchri b'Yavna." Ben Buchri testified in Yavna that Kol Kohen Sheshokel Einachot, that any Kohen who contributes a shekel does not sin. Then that Kohen is not chayav to give a shekel, but he may do so if he wishes, and is not considered a private donation, which may not be used for communal offerings. Amalav Rabbi Yochanan Zakar said to Ben Buchri, "Lo chi, not so. This is not correct. Rather, the correct version is any Kohen who does not contribute a shekel is a sinner. His Kohanim are chayav to give it like all other Jews. Nevertheless, the Kohanim mistakenly expound the following verse, this pasuk, for their own benefit, and therefore do not give shkalim. V'chol minchas kohen kalil t'tiyeh lo seyachol, and every mincha offering, every mincha of a kohen is to be entirely burnt. It shall not be eaten. This is a pasuk of Parshat Sav. Ha'il the omer shte'lechem lechem apanim shalanu. Since we were to contribute shkalim, the omer offering, the 2 loaves and lechem apanim, that are paid for with shkalim, which would be partially ours, and would therefore be considered like the mincha of Kohen. How may they be eaten then? the Torah says they should. The Kohanim are giving, that's partially theirs to it becomes a carbon yachid, and therefore they concluded that the Torah must not have meant to include the Kohanim in the chiyuv of the shkalim. However, this was a mistake because only a mincha belongs to a kohen by himself. Only a mincha belonging to a kohen by himself is burnt, not a communal offering which the kohen has to share like anyone else. They made a false lien, a mistaken lien. Mishnah Hey, Afal Pisham, Yudah Chamim said, A Mimashkinin Nashim Avadim Ukatanim, that we do not seize property from women, slaves, and minors who are not given shkalim, since they're not chayav to give them. Aim Shaklu, if they nevertheless contribute shkalim voluntarily, the kalim yadam, we accept them from their hands. But however, Kochavim Bakushi Shishaklu, if a idolater or a kushi wishes to contribute a shekel, we do not accept it from their hands because idolaters may not participate in the kabbalah tzibur that are bought with shkalim, and kushis are treated like idolaters. The aim of kavim yadam kane zavim kine zavas kine yolados. Nor do we accept from their hands the bird pair offerings of zavim or zavos and women who have given birth, the chatos v'ashamos. Nor do we accept from their chatos and ashams. Nor do we accept from them chatos and asham karbanos, because idolaters are not chayiv to these karbanos, and kusis are treated like idolaters. However, we do accept vow offerings and gift offerings from their hands because the Torah includes idolaters in these kinds of offerings, and the kusis can therefore also bring them. This is the rule. We need of anything that is vowed or donated to the Mizbeach, meaning all voluntary karbanos, Mekavim Yadam, we accept them from the hands of the idolaters and the kusim. However, anything that is not vowed or donated to the Mizbeach, meaning all mandatory karbanos, as well as donations for the Perek Habayis, we do not accept them from their hands. And the source of that is B'chein Hu Mefurish Adi Ezra, and so it's always been explicitly stated by Ezra, Shnamar, Lo Lachem B'Lanu Livnas Beis Elokenu, Bayis Elokenu. It is not for you, the Kusim, and us to build the house for our God. Rather, we alone will build for Hashem. Therefore, the Kusim and certain idolaters are excluded from building the Beis Hamikdash or making any contributions for its upkeep. Okay, 2 more Mishnahs to go, then we're done for today. The Elu Shechayim, the Kalbon, these are the ones who are obligated to pay the Kalbon together with their shekel contribution. The Kalbon was a small fee sometimes added to the shekel obligation. Because sometimes people pay with old coins that were worn away from too much use and did not have the correct weight of silver. The extra Kalbon served to replace what's missing and make the shekel contribution complete. So who is chayiv in this? Leviim, Yisraelim, V'gevim, V'avadim Shechvar. Basically, the same category of people who were chayiv to give the shekel to begin with. Leviim, Yisraelim, converts and freed slaves. Avalo Kohanim v'Nashim V'avadim V'katan, but they did not require this from the Kohanim, women, and the Canaanim, and from minors, because they didn't have a full obligation to give them. They wasn't lenient and did not charge them anything extra. Hashokol al yedei kohen or al yedei isha or al yedei Hashokol al yedei kohen, al yedei isha, al yedei eved, al yedei kadam. One who contributes a shekel on behalf of a kohen, woman, slave, or minor potter is exempt from paying a kalbon, since these people are not fully obligated in the shekalim. He is giving the shekel for them. However, if he contributes on behalf of someone who is chayav to pay, he must also add a kalbon on their behalf. If he contributed the shekel for himself and his friend, and the single coin, he gave a selah, which is equal to 2 shekalim for the two of them, then the chiyuv is as follows. He's obligated to pay only one kalbon, because even if the seller coin missing some silver, the single kalbon is enough to make up the difference. If Meir Omer Shtei Karbanos, or Meir says no, it must be two Karbanos, Karbanos, because the Karban is considered part of the basic shekel payment. In case you think I'm talking, in case you think I'm talking with a lisp, there's a difference between korban and kalbon. Kalbon is a little extra fee, and a korban is a sacrifice. I'm saying kalbon over here. It's not korban. There's a lisp. Kalbon. You hear the difference? I think so. No, no disrespect to anyone that has a lisp out there, but this sound the words sound kind of funny. I know saying the words in this case sound a little funny. Kalbon and carbon, you can see the difference. Okay, anyways, I know I didn't get much sleep last night, so I apologize. I noticed in Selah and Oto Shekel, someone one gives a Selah, which equals two Shekalim to the treasury of the base business and takes back a shekel and change. Chayiv stay kalbanos. He is obligated to bring two kolbanos because there are two possible concerns in regard to the accuracy of the coins. One is the standard concern that the settlement might be missing some silver due to wear and tear. Another is that the shekel given as change may be slightly oversized, and the contributor may not take the extra silver to the base from the base of makers. Therefore, two korbanos are needed to address both these issues. And the last mission for today, Hashokal Ayde Ani, or to contribute to shekel on behalf of a poor person, Ayde Shchino, or on behalf of his neighbor, Ayde Ben Iro, or on behalf of a member of his town, and he did not expect them to repay him, rather, he paid their shekel obligations as a gift. Pater, he is pater from paying a korban for them because he's not obligated to pay their shekel, and the korban is required only for a shekel payment that is a chiyuv. If he lent it to them, he gave the shekel on behalf of the poor person, neighbor, or member of his town with the understanding that they would repay him. Chayav, he is obligated to pay the korban because he because you consider the shekel contribution to be coming from these people rather than from him. Um, regarding brothers who are partners in their father's estate, Shekalim and Kalbon, and to the case in which they are obligated to pay the Kolban, because where divided the estate and then joined their portions together in a partnership. They are partnered from giving Meiser from the animals because partners are not obligated to give Meiser from the animals. In a case in which brothers who share in their father's estate are obligated to give Meiser of animals, but they have not yet divided their father's estate. The Turim a Kalbon, they are parted from paying a Kalbon because the Torah considers the estate to be like property of the father until it is divided. And when they give their shkalim from the estate, it is as if the father is giving his money for the obligation. And as mentioned earlier, a korban is not required in such a case. The kama hu korban, how much is the korban? Kesev is a ma of silver coin that is the equivalent to that is the equivalent of 1/12 of a shekel. This is quite the Chacham Omen Chatzi. It is the Chacham says half of a ma, which is the equivalent of 1/24 of a shekel. Thank you for joining us. We will continue tomorrow with Perek Beis. Mr. Shem, I'll be back in Muncie tomorrow, and we'll resume with the live shiurim at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Have a wonderful day. Kol Tov.